Hi, everybody. Today we are talking about the queen archetype. And Reba, let's just jump right in. Tell us about the queen. What's the queen like?
The queen is unapologetically powerful, and she does not apologize for that, right? Like she's herself, and she has her power, and she knows her worth, and she claims it unapologetically, again, but with grace.
Okay.
And that's whenever it's in the like balanced state ish, right?
Okay.
Like with grace, let's put it that way. Um, she's constantly shining her light, she's leveling up. Um, she's continuously leveling up, right? Like always going to the next level. She's super focused on her journey. She knows what that journey is, and she's very focused on it, and she's just going to keep with it and keep leveling up. Um, She so s s who are the people that you think of that are queens, right? Like, whenever I think of a queen, they have their hair up and they're just, like, regal and they're,
In the
ready
in
to
the power twist that was really popular in the 90s, the
Yeah,
French twist, is that what it's called?
yes, but their hair is slicked back and they are just
They're wearing a business suit,
yeah, yes, that is
pantsuit.
yes.
Mhm.
It could be a pantsuit, but also it could be something super this beautifully ornate and you're, like, ordained, right? Like, you're just, I don't know, wearing your stuff.
I feel like maybe the queen could possibly be misunderstood in our patriarchy as too aggressive or when a man's aggressive in the workplace, he's a fucking boss, right? But when a woman's
Mhm.
aggressive in the workplace, she's a bitch.
Right, she's a boss bitch.
Right. Is the can I guess the queen can sometimes be misinterpreted. Or is that where the grace comes in?
Well, I think that yeah. Well, okay, I guess what I was getting is, like, who are those people that we think of, like, we've talked about, talking about Beyoncé.
Beyonce.
Beyoncé, she has a lot of the energy of the queen, for good or bad.
Mhm.
She embodies the queen energy, and, it may not always be balanced, but queen energy, they're fiercely loyal, especially to their husband or partner, um, and they know what they want. Like Beyoncé knows what she wants. She knows how she's gonna get it and she's gonna work for it. Um,
And
the
she's
queen
always leveling up. Like, she's always coming
always
out
leveling up.
with, like, shit nobody's ever seen before and
Yes.
breaking the internet or iTunes or whatever it is.
Wherever people listen to music. Yes. Yes. And so it doesn't mean that the queen, but also like we've talked about like CEOs or
Mhm.
women who I didn't even have to be a CEO because I think that you're just the queen and you know what you want. And it can be a CEO, but you can be a PTA lady or, you know, eh, I don't even
A
know.
regular mom.
A regular, exactly, because again, these archetypes are all within us. So
Mhm.
some of the things like that are challenges for the queen are you can shrink yourself or dim your light. So others don't feel intimidated by you. Yeah. It's
I
like,
do that.
"Oh,
I do that. That's I think a symptom of my people-pleasing behavior that I'm recovering from. I don't wanna
yeah.
make people feel uncomfortable.
Mhm." Well, yeah, and so that's a challenge for the queen. So, it's your queen may be a little out of balance right now. I don't know. Um, but she can also take advantage of her strength, and manipulate people with that. So with great power comes great responsibility, and that goes for the queen.
Mm.
Um, she let's see. Oh, you might struggle with boundaries. And you might easily be threatened by other women.
Hmm, that's interesting. You would think that a queen wouldn't care about what other people are doing, right? Because they're
Well, in a
so
balanced state.
Yes, that's true.
The queen
That's
is using all her resources and her, she's got her wise woman, she's got her wild woman, she's, like, using all those things and, you know, I don't know, using those for good and for her purpose. But then she can also be like, "Well, that's my husband. My husband's the king." And, she's jealous of these other women that are giving the king attention or
mm,
who are also doing well, or if for any other reasons you might be threatened by another woman.
right. And that's out of bounds. That makes sense. That
Yes.
makes sense.
And that's the out of balance portion of it. Um, to balance the queen energy, you need to be investing more in your soul growth. A lot of the time, whenever we're so invested in our journeys of, like success and outwardly physical things, it's like you forget about the spirituality of it. Um,
Hmm.
the other thing is make big decisions you've been afraid of. So like go after those big dreams, those goals that you've been like, "Oh, I'm not good enough to do that," or other people might think something ab- about me making this decision. They may judge me or I'm not worthy. That's the other thing. Is the queen knows her worth. She knows she's worthy of all the things that she has, the things that she does, and she is enough in the balanced state. And that's what I think gives her the confidence to go forward and move to keep leveling up. So bring it into balance by investing in your soul growth. You might sabotage your own rising to not get too powerful. Let's see. Oh, these are some of the other out of balance. You might feel superior to others and put yourself beneath others. So you could be like, "Oh, I'm the queen and everyone else sucks."
Mm, yeah, that's toxic.
Yeah. Well, so then the other one that I can see happening, especially for CEOs, or I feel like you might take life too seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we think about purpose-driven people that they've or highly successful people anyway, that they don't have a whole lot of time to do other than what they are trying to achieve, right? They don't take the time, I should say, to enjoy their family and go out to lunch or look at a
Just
tree for 20 minutes. Like
to be
just
playful, right?
right,
Bring in the maiden and be like, enjoy and play and novelty. But
right.
when life is so serious, you're like, I got to get this done, and then we're going to do this, and then my hair is, up here, and then sometimes the queen needs to like
It's your
let her
hair's too
hair
tight.
down and
It's too
like,
tight.
oh, yeah, it's too fucking tight. Yes, exactly. Let's see. I think, and then you can bring in, some of the wild women to connect with the spirit world and try and use all that knowledge that you have as a queen, but to integrate that in and bring that into the wise woman. Like use all that you know and bring in some spirituality to bring in wisdom.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, where do you feel like you are at on your queen journey?
Oh, way better than it was a few years ago, I will say. But I think that I don't know if we've talked about this before, maybe in our sidebar, is that I went from like maiden, who was like people pleaser, and then I went like crazy. I feel like I'm just a bitch. Like I'm just fuck everybody. I don't fucking care. I just want to like
I want to
I'm
do what I'm
angry.
going to do. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then trying to find the balance in the middle. I think that happens a lot is that we have to know the opposite before we can find that middle.
Yeah.
Like, how far can I go before then I find the middle of where's the queen in balance and how does it feel in balance? And I think the queen for me feels like she's speaking her truth. And this is a big one for me is knowing my worth
Yeah.
and that I'm enough and that I am worthy of what comes into my life. And I'm worthy to sit in this room and have this conversation.
Mhm.
I think that was a big shift.
We're worthy to have a successful podcast. That
Yeah,
that's, you know, I think before I started this, I was like, well, what makes why is my voice any more valuable than anybody else's?
but I don't think that's the question. That's the thing is like when we can all step into that queen energy and we can all be worthy and enough. And it doesn't have to be just because I'm worthy means someone else isn't worthy.
Right.
And I think that's sort of what we do make it mean in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. And then we're like, well, we don't want anyone else. Like talked about the queen. We don't want anyone else to feel bad.
Right.
But when we step into our queen energy, I think it can help other people step into their queen energy and be like,
Yeah,
you,
because I think you get there and you recognize that, oh, I can exist in this space and others can too. And I can help other people exist in this space.
yeah. Um, I think the other part is I am a stay-at-home mom still, really. And so watching my husband come up and be successful at work was and me helping take care of him and my kids and like that's how I contribute to my family and I that's great. But I also felt like in his shadow a lot
Mm.
because everyone's praising my husband, I feel like all the time. And maybe that's my own perspective, right? Where it's like, oh, you're so good at this, you're so good at that. I'm like, fucking A, like, yeah, he's so great. No, I'm just kidding.
I get
But
it.
yeah, but stepping out of that shadow and realizing I am the one who put myself in that shadow, it was
Right.
like, well, I'm worthy too, right? And I think that was a big step forward for me because I don't have a job like in quotes, like a job that pays
Outside the
me.
home.
Yes, outside the home. Yes. And I don't know, there's something about the queen and her loyalty to her husband where I think that can also be out of balance is if you're living too much for your partner
Mm.
and not and finding worth outside of that partnership.
Right. Finding your own worth before investing it into someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that is where I'm at, I guess. I don't know if that is anywhere clear. But where are you at on your queen journey, do you think?
I think I'm probably on my way, like on this, like how kind of like how you said I spend a lot of time in people pleasing behavior. And I think now I'm starting, I'm starting to realize that behaviors that I was doing were in fact people pleasing behaviors. And, not I hate to bring up the goddamn crop top again, but
We can just keep referring back.
yes,
It's
it's
people
a
know.
metaphor for life, people. The crop top is a metaphor for life. I think it's that realization like, no, I can do whatever I want. I'm an adult. This is my life. This is my life. I don't really care what any of you people think. I don't care if any of you listen to my podcast. Okay, I care. I care a little bit. Listen to my podcast or make my recipes or follow me on Instagram because I'm doing what I want to do and
Mhm.
it's making me happy. So fuck the rest of you.
But not right, like, I
But
like
not
that
in
it's
a
like
not in a bad way, just you can keep your opinion to yourself, you know?
well, it's like we wanna give no fucks and give all the fucks at the same time, like,
Right.
about the right things, about the things that are actually matter and are meaningful to us. The
Mhm.
things that it's like, if it's gonna stop you and hold you back from doing the things that you need to do in your life, then you need to not give a fuck about a lot of those things that people say or do, that can affect and hold you back.
And I think a lot for a long time, I I mean, it was probably a solid, probably 3 years of me denying my calling, for lack of a better word, because, oh, why are I mean, I'm not that good of a cook, like, are my recipes really that good? Am I even contributing? Does anybody care? Oh, I'd love a podcast, but what would I talk about? Why would people find anything that comes out of my mouth valuable, right? And I think I got to a point where I was like, I don't I don't care. I it got to a point where my calling became so strong that I couldn't deny it anymore. I had to see it through. I had to because it was going to make me sick if I didn't. And what kind of a life is a life where you live a life for everybody else?
It doesn't feel very good. It does
No,
not
it
feel good.
doesn't. It doesn't. So I think I'm like I think I'm there. Either I'm almost there or I'm coming into it because the grace part is I think the key for me because it's
The
really easy to
grace.
be like fuck you, I'm awesome. But I think the grace is that nuance that the queen has where she's like, "No, I'm awesome. Would you like to come be awesome with me?"
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, the queen pulls other people up with her as she levels up, she pulls other people up with her. So I'm hoping this isn't my ego's interpretation, but I'm hoping that that's the phase that I'm entering in where I'm doing my thing and I'm hoping that I'm inspiring other people to come along with me, right? And I've stopped being so people pleasy and light dimmy and oh, am I going to offend you if I shine too bright? I think I'm moving out of that. I don't know where I'm moving into. I'm hoping it's the queen, but I think I'm moving out of that. Thank God.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like this ebb and flow of being in and out of that energy and playing with it. Like, how does it feel right now? And how do you bring in the wise woman to use our words with grace or to know timing? Like,
Yeah.
are these the things that
Ooh,
actually need to be said?
terrible at timing. Even my husband is like, now? I'm like, it was on my brain. I had to get it out. I need to read the room.
Yeah, and I think that I went for a long time through like I need to just say these things right now. I need to just get them out of my chest, off my chest. And I think now one of my mm, I don't know, mantras to myself is about being deliberate instead of spontaneous.
Yeah.
Because I want to sometimes I think we both can feel this way. I'm moving out of this where I'm like I want it done. I want it done and like I'm lit up and so I'm going to do this and like whatever. And that can be super helpful because it gets things done
Yeah.
ish, right? Like it gets us moving. But I think I'm moving into a spot where I have to be more deliberate. And
Mhm.
that means with my words, with the actions that all my actions, and when I bring things up. And so that's sort of where it comes into where I'm like asking the divine, I'll ask 3 times and do I get a yes or a no? Like, is this the right time to bring this up? Am I the one to bring this up?
Right.
And am I really ready to articulate what I want to talk about?
Mhm.
So yeah. But what I'm getting at is we have all of these energies and the queen we're going to play with them in and out of them for the rest of our lives. So we may feel good in the queen energy right now and then something happens and we're like, "Oh, my maiden really stepped in there," or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think that about do we have anything else to cover on the queen?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But just yeah.
All right, guys. Well, embrace your inner queen and we'll chat with you on the next archetype.
Bye.
Bye.